Hello and welcome to this Trade Finance tutorial. Today, we are diving deep into two critical topics. First one, how to examine a demand under a guarantee that is not subject to any rules. Second, how ISP98 guides us in examining demands under standby letters of credit. If you are in banking, finance, or international trade, this is crucial knowledge. So, let's get started. When a demand is made under a guarantee that is not subject to any established rules, the process of examining the presentation can become quite challenging. Unlike guarantees governed by clear rules such as URDG758 or ISP98, a guarantee without a defined set of rules leaves many questions open to interpretation. In some cases, the terms of the guarantee itself may specify how long the guarantor has to accept or reject the presentation. For example, it may state that the bank has 5 or 10 business days to review the documents and make decision. However, even when such a time frame is provided, uncertainty remains regarding the standard of examination that should be applied. The main issue arises when there are no clear guidelines on how strict the compliance of the presented documents must be. Should the bank take a literal approach, where even minor typographical errors lead to rejection? Or should a more flexible approach be taken, where only material discrepancies that affect the core purpose of the guarantee are considered ground for rejection? The applicable law governing the guarantee may provide some guidance, but laws vary by jurisdiction, and not all legal systems offer detailed rules on documentary compliance in demand guarantees. This ambiguity is why demand guarantees without clear rules can pose significant risk to both the beneficiary and the guarantor. Now, let's look at how demand examination work under a standby letter of credit that is subject to ISP98. ISP98 or the International Standby Practices provides a structured set of rules that govern the presentation and examination of the documents under a standby letter of credit. Rule 4 of ISP90 lays out the key principles for document examination. One key principle is that documents are only examined for consistency with each other if the standby specifically recurs. For example, if a standby states that an invoice and a shipping document must not contradict each other, then the bank must check for inconsistencies. However, if no such requirement exists, minor differences in details between documents will not automatically lead to rejection. Another important provision relates to the language of the documents. If a standby specifies that the documents may be in English, then all documents issued by the beneficiary must be in English. However, if a third party is required to issue a document and that party's standard practice is to use another language, the issuer may still accept it, depending on the context. The issuer of the documents is another factor. By default, documents should be issued by the beneficiary unless the standby states that they must be issued by a third party. For example, if a standby requires a transport document, such as bill of lading, it is understood that this will be issued by the carrier and not by the beneficiary. Regarding the date of documents, ISP states that the issuance of date of a document may be earlier than the date of presentation but not later. This means that if a document is presented on March 10 but it is dated March 15, it would not comply. However, if the document is dated March 5, it would still be valid. Rule 4 also addresses signatures. A document does not need to be signed unless the standby explicitly requires it. If a signature is required, it can be made in any form appropriate to the document's medium, such as an handwritten signature, an electronic signature, or a company stamp. If the standby does not specify who must sign, the signature will generally be acceptable. Another crucial rule is related to wording. If a standby requires a specific statement but does not specify the exact wording, the presented document must convey the same meaning. even if the wording differs slightly. However, if the standbys specify exact wording using quotation marks or block text, minor typographical errors such as a spacing or punctuation mistakes will not be considered discrepancies. But if the standby explicitly states that the wording must be exact or identical, then every detail, including typos, must be reproduced exactly. ISP98 also disregards non-documentary conditions. If a standby includes a requirement that does not involve a presented document, such as a condition that a specific event must occur without requiring proof in document, the issuer will disregard that condition. However, if the condition can be verified from the issuer's own record, such as a requirement that funds be credited to a specific account before payment, the issuer may take that into account. The time allowed for examination for the presentation is covered under Rule 5 of ISP98. The issuer must examine the documents and provide notice of dishonor within a reasonable time, which is generally within 3 business days, but no later than 7 business days. If the issuer fails to notify the presenter of the discrepancy within this period, it is precluded from later rejecting the documents based on that discrepancy. When dishonoring a presentation, the issuer must state all discrepancies in a single notice. If it fails to mention a particular discrepancy, it cannot later use that discrepancy as a reason for rejection. If the issuer decided to seek a waiver from the applicant, it may do so within the time available. But obtaining a waiver does not obligate the issuer to honor the presentation. Another key aspect covered in ISP98 is how dishonored documents should be handled. If the issuer rejects the presentation, it must return the document or follow the presenter's instruction regarding their disposition. However, if no instructions are provided, the issuer may return the documents at its discretion. To summarize, demand guarantees that are not subject to the established rules create uncertainty regarding documents examination and compliance standard. The applicable law may provide guidance, but it may not be always clear. In contrast, standby letters of credit governed by ISP98 provides detailed provision that ensure consistency in document examination, minimizing ambiguity and disputes. These rules clarify key aspects such as compliance standard, document consistency, language, signature, timeframes, and handling of discrepancies. This structured approach reduces risk and ensures that all parties understand their obligations under standby letter of credit. And finally, using structured rules like ISP98 or URDG758 is always recommended to avoid legal uncertainty and ensure a smooth demand examination process. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more trade finance insights. Have questions? Drop them in the comments below, and I will be happy to answer. See you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.